We don't have Peter here to do the introduction, so I won't play the waiting game. I feel like I could just stand here forever.
Oh yeah, I would just not care. I would just sit there.
Do you know what we're doing? Do you know what our show is? What the segment is?
What year is it? Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Dementia bots.
What? Jake, that's not funny. Let's not make any jokes.
No, we're going. So I think this is when we talk about AI, I feel like I'm always the doom and gloom one. Like it's gonna just like crush us. They're not real relationships.
And this is how it starts.
This is how I feel like this is how it ends.
So tell me about dementia bots.
Well, that's clearly not what they're called, but basically what this article from Wired is about, Kat McGowan talks about how patients with dementia who are towards end of life are sometimes difficult to deal with, and it takes a lot of patience and it's hard on the families. But these little friendly robots can kind of cheer them up and they don't get frustrated. And this was one of the things that came up with ChatGPT early on when they were talking about what the potential uses could be, is that in terms of like kind of a companion bot or engine, they're infinitely patient. They're not going to be offended. They can be a good tool to help keep people somewhat mentally stimulated, maintain that sense of connection to the world. And I am actually fully on board with this.
Yeah, this is like a rare occurrence where I could say that I trust this. Like, of course there is gonna be, so we're gonna keep seeing service and care be automated away from people. Low barrier of entry for like repetitive tasks, right? Like medicine being brought is a great example. And we're going to keep seeing it advancing, and more difficult tasks are going to be taken over by something like this. So like, yes, like something's going to happen where it's like the first missed needle in a vein, right? Like something like that. Like it's going to be a huge deal that the AI fucked it up. But I'm almost 100% sure that this is going to be infinitely better than humans, like human caregivers, human nurses. Like, because of precision, I would feel very comfortable having a robot perform things on me. Yeah.
And I don't know in this case if it's necessarily that the robot's going to be actually providing care, but it's almost more like a comfort
stimulation, right? Like stimulation is, I guess, a form of care. But I am definitely talking about, originally I was definitely talking about more like just traditional medical care. But here, like the fact that like you're able to bring peace or less chaos to someone with dementia is amazing, right? Like what a near impossible task to do as a human. Like you said, infinite patience, because it doesn't have patience. Patience doesn't exist for a robot. It will sit there happily, not even happily. It will just sit there and do the thing it needs to do for however long it takes.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
You can ask it the same questions. You can tell it the same stories. You could get mad at it and it's not going to have any negative impact. And I think my problem generally, I forgot to restart the timer for the show. My problem generally with the idea of AI companions is that it creates a situation where you're developing a relationship with a non-relational being. Like it's not really a relationship. I don't know if it falls quite in the category of parasocial relationships, as you've referenced a couple of times, but you know, it's not human. You don't have that emotional connection. But in this case, you're dealing with people who aren't developmental, in developmental stages where they need to be learning that. You're not giving it to them as a crutch to avoid other social behaviors. These are people who are in an irreversible situation, and they just need a little bit of comfort in their old age, or during the time that they have left, or whatever the case may be. And this just seems like such a compassionate solution.
Agreed.
Yeah, I like it.
Little robo friend. Yeah, I'm a big supporter.
Almost like a comfort animal, comfort dog or whatever, comfort monkey, comfort.
But like that sloth. Pretends to be sentient and has a response in English that you can like talk to, right? Like it can read anger and frustration. It can understand that and then act accordingly. And I think that's like, wow, what an age that we're living in, that we're going to keep seeing this expanding. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like Peter says, it is going to get better. I don't know if it would ever get to the point that, I mean, so is it, so in terms, like, so go to the other end, right? You've got toddlers, infants who are developing these things. And maybe this is where it does go back in the other direction. I guess what I was trying to decide was, is something like this that's more interactive better or worse than putting your kid in front of the television? No, I think it's worse.
Well,
it's worse because it's going to feel more authentic when it's actually not.
Is that a bad thing? You're letting them mimic interactions and what behavior is good and bad, right? Like if the kid pushes this little android, like the android's gonna be like, ouch, that hurt, or whatever. Like it's gonna like, you get what I mean? Like things are gonna be taught to it in a straightforward way.
So what's the better substitute for bad parenting is the question.
Right. Do you rather have an iPad kid or a kid that's being parented by an android?
Oh, so an iPad kid or a ChatGPT kid? Ew, that's a rough choice. I don't know.
That's a rough one. Yeah.
Oof. Oh, man.
The ChatGPT kid, the problem with that one is like kid might come out just being an anti-Semite. Like that's a possibility. Like she's going to be a raging racist, blame the Jews for everything. That wouldn't be great.
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, right, the iPad kid is going to have like the development handicap of like a 2-year-old at 5. Like they're just not going to be talking or interacting. So like pros and cons.
Oh man, that was a fun question that I stumbled into. I'm going to be thinking about that a lot, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
A 5-year-old kid is a moon landing denier, moon lander denier. Yeah, like
flat earther.
Amazing. Yeah, flat earther, yeah. No, Dad, it's not true. We're going to fall off. Okay. All right. That's
so maybe I will turn to the doom and gloom side of this feel good story.
Of course you do, because that's what you do, Mike. You ruin everything. Nice. It was so good.